that is tasked with supporting the core protocol. So I'm going to let Mario here talk a little bit about what a core developer is, and take it away, Mario.
Thanks a lot, Josh. And hello, everyone, again. Thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, I wasn't nervous about this presentation until I found out they put us after Carl. So yeah, the bar is high. And yeah, before we get to the topic about the Protocol Fellowship and our little project, first we need to answer the question, what is the core developer? What is Ethereum core developer? And to answer what is Ethereum core developer, first we need to know what is Ethereum. Anybody? Yeah, I like to ask this question at my talks. Folks, what do you think? What is Ethereum? It's a G client. It's a client. That's great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we get the right question pretty fast. Like normally I hear Ethereum is the future, Ethereum is love, right? Yeah, so Ethereum is client. It's a protocol. It's Ethereum is a protocol. It's a set of rules which we defined, and core developers are people who maintain and develop and flourish this protocol. So yeah, Ethereum starts as an idea, defined or explained in a white paper of Ethereum, let's say, but from this idea we get to the part we can actually touch, which actually defines how Ethereum should behave, and that specification. Originally in yellow paper, today we have a bunch of EIPs, we have executable specification, and based on these common ground, there are implementations. So we take this specifically defined way how the software should behave, and we write it down into actual code. And that's the Ethereum execution client and consensus client. So if the answer to what is Ethereum for me, like the most material way how I can touch Ethereum would be the code of the execution and consensus clients. So yeah, the execution clients are the original Ethereum clients. That's what Ethereum used to be before the merge. And at the time the client verified the proof of work, but now it's governed by the consensus client, which implements the beacon chain, the proof of stake. So we have 5 client implementations on both sides, which are actively developed and maintained. That's 10 teams already. And then there is testing, because when we have it, like each client team tests its own software, but then there needs to be testing which makes sure that it's all interoperable, that it's all works together properly and according to spec. And then there is the research teams. Those are the research around the protocol tries to make it better generally, right? More scalable, secure, and this is what the core protocol is. But I would like to also mention a few things which are not the core protocol, because when I talk about Ethereum developer, you might mostly imagine some person who writes Solidity, who writes smart contracts, DeFi applications, and this is on top of the protocol. This is the application layer, which it does not contribute to the protocol itself. And yeah, I don't know, NFT projects, infrastructure like block explorers, layer 2s, and our languages built on top of Ethereum. It's important to note that actually some of these contribute back to the protocol, like layer 2s. We had Carl here, and the people from Optimism contribute also to the protocol, but they don't primarily work on that. Yeah, and so these developers who are around it or building the application layer, that's the majority of them. The Web3 devs grew pretty fast in past few years, so you might notice everything around here, right? all this ecosystem around us built by many devs, growing fast. On the other hand, the core protocol is the teams in the core protocol are smaller. There is a protocol guild, which is a collective of 128 core contributors, but there is more of them. There is around 20 teams developing the core protocol. Altogether, it might be around maybe 200 people, and around 130 in the protocol guild. So we are looking, comparing those numbers, where we are at like 6-7K just based on GitHub. We are talking about like, what is it, like 20 times, 40 times less, right? Yeah. No? Bad math? It's a lot less. So yeah, the app developers, those are people building the smart contracts. And the responsibility of these folks is to create secure environment of their application for its users. It's a high-level development, yeah. And mostly these projects are competitive, market-driven. Businesses also some public goods, but mostly with profit incentives. And you can imagine this as a building some fancy product, some fancy car. Yeah, we could put the Dodge Lambo there, but yeah, fancy car. And the core devs are those who build the roads, the highways for these fancy cars, so people can actually ride them. So these people are building the actual infrastructure in the system level languages, so the implementation of the clients are in many various languages. Yeah, implement the constant execution clients. And the responsibility of core devs is to provide security for all the users, not just the application specific, but all the Ethereum security is based on that these clients, these implementations behave correctly. Well, and not just that, like we see here other chains which are forking Ethereum and basically just reusing most of its code. So the responsibility extends even beyond Ethereum. And the main difference in the dynamic here is that the core devs are mostly collaborative. It's not really competitive. Like I'm talking about 10 different clients teams here, and they work together even they are all building the same product, trying to compete for its users basically, but they are collaborating to make together Ethereum better. And so it's like more ethos driven, and yeah, that's the cool highway. So yeah, if you are maybe Web3 dev or dev in general and looking into the core development, so why are these core devs so important? Well, as I said, they maintain this client, they maintain the Ethereum itself. If you heard about the EIP process and the research, the upgrades of Ethereum in general, these people do it, right? The 4844 we heard here, the dunk sharding, the scalability and other roadmap items we have there are a product, a result of work of these people. Last year, Vitalik said that even after the merge, Ethereum is only 55% done, finished. So, and looking at the roadmap, there is really a lot of things to finish, and each of these little squares is being worked on somebody from the core development. And it's because these people are mostly driven whether by the vision of Ethereum or just being excited about the technical challenges there. And yeah, I think it's a great mission to become one of the core devs, and we are trying to help you become one. And so how to do that is our EPF project. Josh, it's yours. Yeah.
All right, thanks Mario for that explanation about why core development is important and why we need more core devs in the development community. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Ethereum Protocol Fellowship, which is a program that is designed to make the process of becoming a core developer, researcher, or contributor a little bit easier. It's a wide ecosystem out there with lots of information that's not very well aggregated. So it can be challenging for somebody who is interested in getting into this kind of work to do so. So we developed the Protocol Fellowship to make that process easier. A brief history of the Protocol Fellowship. It was initially originated by Piper Merriam, who's a longtime Ethereum developer, originally called the Core Developer Apprentice Program, and it was designed to bring devs into the Portal Network, which is a pet project of Piper's. He ran 2 cohorts and then got enough developers for his project and decided to pass it off to the general EF community to see if this program would work for the wider core developer community. The program is funded and coordinated by the foundation, meant to better the core developer community. So we recently ran the third cohort. We have many of the fellows from that third cohort here sitting in the audience. We had over 600 applications for this particular cohort. We did over 40 interviews, officially accepted 24 applicants. The program is a permissionless program, so we do allow anybody to participate in the program with mostly the same resources and benefits that an officially accepted fellow would also have access to. So we ended up having 36 total fellows submitting at least one development update, so working at least a little bit on a project. We had 20 projects reach the final stages of the program, and yeah, so some of the benefits of the EPF. One of the big ones is that you get an introduction to the development community. Sometimes people have a hard time reaching out to developers or knowing who or how or when they can reach out to find help or get feedback on projects they're working on. We provide a semi-structured process for fellows to do the work on their projects. We allow developers to work on the projects that they're passionate about, so we don't actually tell them what to do. We kind of just say, what do you want to do, and go and do it. We help connect them with mentors in the developer community, so people that are experts in their field, connecting them to the fellows that are working on projects that are relevant to that particular mentor. We offer financial stipends so that people are able to focus on working on this project. And finally, we provide a look into what the experience of being a core developer. So some of the projects from this past cohort, we had some people working on a Teku Lite client, Verkle tree research, some open MEV games, an Ethereum monitor, and a bunch of other projects that you can see up there on that list. We're running a little bit short on time, but we're going to bring one of our fellows up, Kevin, who was one of the permissionless participants of this program, to talk a little bit about the work that he did.
Okay. I will keep it as short as possible. So hi, I'm Kevin. I was part of the last cohort, and I want to talk a little bit about my project I worked on and about my experience. So the project is called Reward APIs, and to boil it down into one sentence, the goal is to develop APIs that provide detailed reward data for Ethereum validators. Validators mainly have three duties: attestation, proposing blocks, and participating in a sync committee. And the problem is the data is obviously there, but there's no easy way to access the data. So there are some custom built solutions, but it would be nicer to have some standardized set of APIs. So the project can be divided into two milestones. The first was designing the standardized Beacon API endpoints. The Beacon API is a set of APIs for consensus clients to enhance the interoperability, and currently there are 5 consensus clients. And the second part is the second milestone, to implement those endpoints into one consensus client, and we decided to go for Lighthouse, consensus client written in Rust. So I want to show you how the sync committee rewards look like. So just imagine you're a validator, or you're running Lighthouse at home, a home staker, and you have like 2 validators. You're now able to input your validator index or even your public key if you want to, and at the end the desired slot you want to get the data from, and the output looks like the following. You're getting the validator index and the reward paid for participating in the sync committee, and the public key gets converted to a validator index. So how does the future of the project looks like? We are done with implementing it, but there are some other consensus clients picking up our designed APIs, and I think it's a huge success that other teams want to have them into their client as well. And another thing, there is a blockchain explorer called Beacon Chain, and they decided to run our APIs. They had a custom built solution before, and I think this is also a huge success factor for our project. So I want also to talk a little bit about the experience I had during the cohort. So a funny thing is I was not initially selected. So this means I got access to all the resources except of the financial stipend from early on. So I had access to the calls, I had access to the chat group, I had access to the mentorship and everything. The whole program is permissionless, and midway through I received the offer to get a stipend. So what I also liked about it is you can choose what you want to work on. So as they already said, you can choose your own area you're interested in, or you can look at a list of project ideas proposed by some mentors to work on. And also the last thing I liked a lot was the welcoming community. So I met a lot of smart people, kind people, and welcoming people, and the mentors were amazing. So I learned a lot in a really, really short period of time. And how does my future look like? Personally, I really enjoyed working at the EPF and core development, and I'm now working on an EIP called 6110. The goal is to supply validator deposits on-chain, and I met a guy who wrote that EIP through an AMA organized by the EPF, so you have also access to a really, really good network. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Awesome, thanks, Kevin. So we got 1 minute left here. We'll talk quickly about how the program works. You can go ahead and take up a picture of this timeline because I'm going to breeze right through it. We have a 3-stage program. The first part is about onboarding and getting to know Ethereum a little bit better and trying to figure out what kind of project you'd like to work on. Once you have figured out that project, you're going to do a deep dive for a couple of weeks, learning as much as you can about that particular project, and then the remainder of the project of the program is dedicated to the execution of that project. During that entire time, you have access to mentors to give you feedback on your project proposal and the work that you do during the duration of the program. So if you'd like to join the fellowship, these are some of the key metrics that we're looking for. People that have strong written and verbal communication skills. It's best to be very self-directed and self-motivated. It's good to have some sort of technical foundation and to be able to write code in some way, shape, or form. Even more importantly, though, it's important to be interested in low-level systems architecture, and even more important to have a passion for Ethereum, blockchain, and the ethos surrounding it. Some strong signals for your acceptance into the program are at least a second look at your application, well-written answers in your application, an active GitHub account with some sort of open source contributions, low-level language proficiencies, and if you have some kind of protocol work, those are all great things for us to see when looking at your application. So stay on the lookout at the Ethereum Foundation blog and Twitter and a Google group where you'll see a QR code on the next slide. Go ahead and start preparing your applications. If you haven't already made contributions to open source software or are familiar with Ethereum protocols, those are all good things to do. We are going to be starting another cohort either in the summer or the fall, so you have time to get your profile ready for that. Here are 2 QR codes for the Google group and the GitHub repo from this particular cohort. Thank you very much. Again, I'm Josh. This is Mario. We're from the Ethereum Foundation running the Protocol Fellowship, and we hope to see you as core developers.
Thank you so much.